Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for being here. It's the ladies' show today. And of course, plus one. Okay. All right, everyone. Next item, please.
Item B.
Okay, everybody hold on, please.
Oh, that's too funny.
Hold, please. Hold, please. Well, all right. We have a look at commercials.
Interesting.
Just hanging out.
I know.
We all set?
All set.
Okay. Next item.
B, approval of the April 20th, 2023 meeting minutes.
So moved. Moved and supported for the minutes on the 20th of April. Are there any changes to the minutes, changes, deletions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Ayes have it. Next item, please.
Item C, unfinished business. There is none. Moving to item D1 under new business, discussion on medical benefits.
Okay. So last meeting, we were able to kind of hear from our employees and union leaders on some of their issues and recommendations as it pertains to salaries and benefits. I asked a series of questions that weren't ready for the last meeting, but I do understand that they are ready now. So I understand there is a presentation. So I will turn it over to you ladies. But before I do that, are there any questions from committee members about anything we've done so far? Any questions? Okay, I will turn it over to you ladies.
I'm gonna push this.
Oh, okay.
Well, good afternoon, Madam Chair. Precious Walton, Employee Benefits and Vendor Administration Manager for Wayne County. Before we get started into the questions, we have a brief presentation just to go over our overall employee healthcare benefits.
Okay.
Okay. And so everyone hopefully has a presentation. Happy? Yep.
All right. Yep, we have it.
Okay. Our first slide here just goes over the history of our healthcare benefit offerings. So prior to 2008, the county started having noticing increasing healthcare costs on their active side and the retiree side. In 2004, 2008, the county negotiates employee contributions, as well as make some plan changes to the design. And we also started the retirement medical savings accounts to help try to address the growing legacy cost. In 2011, the county introduces high deductible healthcare plans, as well as a $0 option. With the HSAs, the county basically encouraged employees to contribute to those funds. In 2015, the county moves to all high deductible healthcare plans on the non-legislative side with a 25% employee contribution for all plans. They negotiated the annual wage bonus. And again, encourage employees to contribute the annual wage bonus to their healthcare savings account. Retirement for those who were working towards a retiree healthcare, that was ended. And individuals were moved to either having the RMSA, the Retirement Medical Savings Accounts, or the Medicare stipend plan.
Okay, I think Commissioner Killeen, did you have a question before we moved on?
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Chair. On that very little bubble you just mentioned about to high deductible for all non-legislative employees, does that also mean the executive?
Yes.
So it's non-legislative and non-executive.
No, just
The executive plan is a high deductible?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
yeah.
Only us.
Yes, only you guys still have traditional plans.
There you go. Thank you.
We're outside of our co-pay.
Just
plan.
need clarity there.
Okay.
Next
Okay.
page.
Next slide. So some general information about the county health plans. The county plans are self-insured. And basically what that means is that we pay a monthly employee or retiree cost plus the admin fee, plus the cost of any claims by the participants. And this is at the Blue Cross Blue Shield discounted rate. The only plans that are not self-insured are our Medicare Advantage plans. All plans offered by the county to non-legislators employees are high deductible healthcare plans, except for the copay plan. The county falls under the hard cap for PA 152 compliance. So the 2023 hard cap amount is $31,322,149. And this applies to our active group only. The county is expected that our costs will be $24,798,650, which is $6,523,499 below the hard cap amount. And this also, it includes the employee contributions.
Okay, so I don't understand what you just said.
Okay.
Hard cap, what does that mean?
So the hard cap is Michigan Public Acts. And what it does is that it sets a maximum amount that a public employer can contribute towards the medical plans.
Okay,
Okay,
and our cap is 31 million.
correct.
And of course, that's based upon employees,
Yes, all active employees.
all active employees, okay? And then the second bullet says we're expected to be at about 24 million,
Correct.
which is under about 6 million below that 31. So if we go back to, let's say 2011, was this PA 152 enacted at that time in 2011?
Yes.
So do we know what our hard cap was?
Yeah, it came into effect in 2011.
It came into effect in 2011.
Correct.
So do we know so there wasn't a hard cap because it wasn't, but do you know how much what our expenditures were
Now for 2011.
in 2011? Okay.
Okay.
Because a big, what I really wanted to kind of hone in, I know in 2011, the county was going through some financial troubles and we had to look to see how can we stop the bleeding, right? So that the insurance makeup was one of the ways in which we did that. But I need to know what were we paying then and what are we paying now, just to get an idea if we could support the plans that we had back in 2011. That's a big question that I have. So if you can just let us know what we were paying in 2011, 2008 and 2011, just for comparison purposes. Commissioner Colleen?
On that same topic, Madam Chair, just for clarity. So non-legislative folks have the high deductible. On top of that, we're 6.5 million short on the cap of which we could spend for employee health care. Is that an accurate statement?
That's correct.
So that's kind of like a little bit of a whammy there, Madam Chair.
Mm-hmm.
Worse insurance and we're not meeting the cap of what we could spend. So
We could spend up to that 31 million,
yeah,
correct?
So
Mhm.
just thank you, just for clarity. Thank you.
And I suspect they would say that's a savings of $6 million is how I'm sure the administration would frame that question.
don't think the
employees
would say the same
Right. And I think the one thing that we will have to be careful of getting too close to that cap, because we don't want to go over that amount.
Okay, thank you. Next page.
Our second slide here just goes over our enrollment counts, and this is as of May. So it goes over the Blue Cross plans, so the PPO plans. our HMO plans and other plans, other plan options that the county offers. It also indicates of those plans, which ones are HSA qualified, which one are legislative plans, and which one are non-legislative plans. I think the biggest thing here, the biggest takeaway in this chart is that you get to see what plans the employees are selecting. And so most of the enrollments are in the PPO plan.
Okay, let me look at this for a moment, please.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the far column. Total active employees that take the medical insurance are 2,678. That's correct. That's how many employees take the plans, correct? Is that what that number
I'm
represents?
sorry, madam. Where are you?
Active employees, the last column. Well, the second, this says total, then percent of total.
Yes.
So 2,600 employees take our medical insurance.
Out of,
72% of all of our employees.
correct.
Okay, and then the mirror are our retirees, and that's how many of those take, okay? And the biggest piece, the PPOs, more people have PPO plan than any other plan.
Correct.
513, I'm looking for a single, I'm gonna make sure I'm at the right place. Oh, that's the Simply Blue, okay, community PPO, this is 16. With it all together, okay, all right. Any questions on this page?
Only 19% family?
Family on the active plan, 16% total,
That's
610.
our children are not being insured.
And the single, the two-person, then the family plan. Okay, and so the other, what is that? The 38%, whatever, 28% of the population of our employees, they're not taking insurance through us. They're either opting out or taking through their spouse or taking through their spouse or waiving it. Mhm, okay.
Would they get into the volunteer?
They're probably, I would say would get like a spouse. I would think the way I would read is a spouse has a better plan somewhere else and they're going to their spouse's plan as opposed to our plan. Because the Obama, we call it the Obama plan, but the Affordable Care Act, people wouldn't be, our employees wouldn't be going to that, would they?
No.
They wouldn't qualify. Was that correct? Yeah, they wouldn't qualify for the Affordable Care Act. Yeah, okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'd also be interested in how many people are just foregoing healthcare because they can't afford it. If you're at like a $27,000 a year job, I'd be curious as to how many of our
there's opt out altogether.
just don't take any health insurance because they don't feel like they can afford it.
Do we have those numbers?
Oh, there is.
So the number would be under the waived group.
Waived. Is that this page or next
Yes.
page?
No, same
Where
page.
you at? Waived. Where's waived?
So right past the HMO plan.
Okay, gotcha.
But that's
So-
in our plan, not necessarily. That doesn't necessarily tell us they have health insurance somewhere else.
Right. Unfortunately, because there's no
Yeah,
fees with
I
ACA,
was
they
just
don't have to
curious
report
if
that
is
information
where
to
employees
us.
feel
That could
that.
be something, yeah.
The 410 are waiving our plan. We don't know if that means they don't have it with at all or somewhere else. It's just they're not with our plan. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Could that be also people that have their spouses covering them?
Right.
Or they- or
Yes.
family?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Next page.
The commission has seen this chart before, but we have made some updates to it and wanted to bring it back to your attention. And so this is a benchmarking survey that Siegel conducted late last year. And it just goes over the different local municipalities and Wayne County's coverages. So everything that's in the chart that's highlighted red is a worse benefit than what's offered at Wayne County. Anything that is green is a better benefit for Wayne County. So just looking at this, our deductible here is, well, for 2023 is $1,500. For the city of Detroit, their deductibles are ranging between $250 and $750. Genesee is right around the same amount. Macomb County is $0 to $3,000. Oakland County, $0 to $250. $750 for the Airport Authority. And then there's also the benchmarking for the national benchmark, and then Midwest. So in this line, it appears that the deductibles are better in these areas. However, there are things that you need to take into consideration in regards to, we have all high deductible health plans as well. So our deductible is determined by the IRS, and we set it at the very minimum that the IRS will allow. So this changes every year.
Okay, so a couple of questions. Commissioner Clark Home, the Commissioner Recchi.
Understanding here.
Okay,
that
the mic on.
I'm looking at Wayne County. And am I understanding that, did you say 1,500
Yes, for a single person.
and all of these folks here are like half as much.
That is correct. That is correct. Yeah. So if we,
Before we move that point, I think Commissioner Recchi had another statement on that. point.
Yeah, I just want. This doesn't compare like what kind of programs they have as well. I mean, we might have better coverage, period. So, I mean, this, on the face value, you go, oh my gosh, but we don't even know what we're comparing it to. Right?
Right. There's so many other factors to take into consideration. So here we're just looking at the deductible. As we actually move into the chart, you'll notice that the other municipalities are faring better than we do when it comes to the deductible. However, we're right around we're aligned when it comes to the co-insurance, around the 20%. Now, the total out-of-pocket maximum for the groups, you'll notice that the county is only at $2,300, where when you look at the city of Detroit and the rest of the other municipalities, their numbers are a lot higher than ours. So meaning if someone was to experience a major healthcare issue, they would be out of pocket possibly for those amounts. Whereas to the county's plan, even though you have that deductible that's set at $1,500, if you have a major surgery, then the total amount that you're going to be out of pocket is $2,300 before the county starts picking up for you. And then we also factor in the annual wage bonus, as employees can put those monies into their HSA account, and that can help them pay for their medical expenses tax-free.
So what did you say again?
The HSA account. So, the HSA account, do we mandate that every employee have an education on the HSA account? Because I would suspect that a lot of employees don't know what that is, how it benefits them or not. So is there a mandatory training or educational form on that?
So there's no mandatory training. What we do is during open enrollment, we do bring all of the vendors in and allow them to present to our employees at least twice during the open enrollment period. This year, we've already had Health Equity, which is our HSA vendor, to conduct, I believe it's 2 webinars this year. So we're pushing for the information and putting the information out to the employees, but we're not mandating it.
Okay. Because a lot of people don't know what that is. Go ahead, Commissioner Clark.
I'm just about to, what did you say? Explain to me what HSA is.
See?
I'm a long-time employee. What is HSA?
So an HSA is a healthcare savings account. And what it is, if you have a high deductible health plan, you're allowed to put monies away in an HSA account tax-free and pay, those monies will pay, well, you can use those monies to pay for your medical expenses with those tax-free dollars.
And it's a maximum that you can put away, correct?
Cor-
20% of your
Correct.
income,
Well, that's
Where's
set,
that money coming from?
your paycheck.
But you give a bonus to put in.
correct. Correct. We give a bonus to put in. The IRS sets the limits every year of how much an employee can contribute to their HSA accounts tax-free.
You got it. So let's just summarize. The employer, Wayne County, puts money into people's paychecks, extra money, and then that money goes to the HSA account to pay for surgery, let's say, over, like if you had a $10,000 surgery, you pay the 2,300 out of pocket. And then if you put money in your HSA over the years, he got service in December. So all the money that you put in the year would go towards the 2,300.
So yes,
Okay.
but you can, what happens is an individual will receive a card. Okay, and so they can use that card as a credit card. They can also, as you receive your bills, you can pay from the HSA app. And so your doctor's offices, those that are a little bit more sophisticated, if they know you have a high deductible health plan, they would just send your bill directly to your HSA account. You open up the app and say, oh, okay, my doctor just charged me $100 for my last visit. And you can actually just have them send a check from your account directly to your doctor's office.
Does this have anything to do with like retiree stipend?
No, it's different from retiree stipend. So if you're talking about the Medicare stipend or just the
No,
stipend
the
in general.
That the county pays.
So the stipend that the county pays, that is in lieu of your health care. So
Right.
right, as a retiree. So you have to meet a certain eligibility requirements for that in order to be considered for that. And for anyone who is age 65 and under, they receive their monies as a cash payment in their paycheck from Wickers. Anyone who is over the age of 65, we have a third-party vendor that handles the reimbursement for those.
This is so confusing.
I know, I'm sorry. We can talk later.
This is so confusing. I feel sorry for the employee. If I can't understand it, I know they don't.
And that's kind of why I was asking with any kind of mandatory explanation, education for employees, because it's a lot, because it's new. This HRSA stuff is new. It's new to the
Well, I'm glad to
marketplace.
hear that,
It's
because
new.
I was thinking that
No.
this has been going on all the time that I've been working
No,
for the county.
no. This is a new concept on medical insurance that many corporations across the country have started, and municipalities have started. So,
Through the
What?
chair,
yeah.
Donna Wilson, PHR Director. It's also explained to employees and new employee orientations so from the time you come on board, there is a education piece that we do offer new employees. Now, granted, some employees may not sign up initially, but through repetition and constant education, the webinars, the communications, we are providing employees the information. We also have benefit specialists available to review the information. So if employees have a question, they can contact their benefit specialist, talk one-on-one with them also.
Commissioner Murphy?
And back to the chair's point, I think someone gave us the numbers last time on how many people are opting into the working with the HSA. It wasn't it wasn't horribly high, but
So we have those numbers here. They're part of this presentation.
Okay.
If you skip to page 8, you can see those.
back in the days when I was working at the University of Michigan Medical Center, when I started working there, you didn't have to take any kind of retirement plan. You could just skip it, but then it got to the point where they made you opt out of something
Mm.
so that everybody was aware that they could have a retirement plan
Okay.
because people were not paying attention to it. So that would be an interesting,
And even Terrence brought to my attention, even with the medical benefits. Say what you were going to say, Terrence.
How you doing? Terrence Adams, Chief Fiscal Advisor, Wayne County Commission. Doesn't all employees have to take healthcare unless they show proof that they have it somewhere else?
No. No, unfortunately, they do not.
Okay.
So I think what you may be talking about, Terrence, is that employers do send out a certification for your taxes, but not on the employer side. So there is maybe a penalty tax wise, but not on the employer.
There was something,
right?
Terrence, there was something that they did send out. They sent to like the supervisors saying that your
I think
employee has to have the benefits of health insurance, or there was something.
And on Obamacare, I think they passed that or.
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You have to show proof that you have
Yeah.
something.
with
Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, that's. yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
I just remember seeing something of that sort.
Okay. All right, you want to continue on this page?
Okay. So, just finishing up on this page, again, it just shows the differences as well as showing, the copays, for your prescription drug coverage. And so the county is pretty much in line. We're not better than Genesee and Oakland County. But we are better when it comes to the national benchmarks and the Midwest benchmarks. This chart also shows the HSA plans, which of the municipalities provide an HSA option. Okay. And you notice it's just the county and also Macomb County that has that option. With the traditional PPO plan, all of the municipalities are offering a traditional plan. And the last option here is a zero cost plan. So we have the city of Detroit, Genesee County, and also Macomb and Oakland that offers a zero county plan to their employees.
Zero cost plan.
Zero cost plans, thank you.
Detroit is no.
No, no for
Detroit is no.
Detroit, but yes for Genesee, Macomb, and Oakland County.
Yeah.
Correct.
And the zero cost plan is what?
Yeah, it's
Zero cost.
it's a
And I
zero
wonder-
employee contribution.
And if they have I'm just curious, is Macomb, Oakland, and Genesee County offer that? Why, what's the benefit or not benefit of having that? Those counties seem to offer it. Why are we not, or, is there a reason why that just, what? That detriment to them to offer that? Or
Well,
a
there
detriment to
are-
us to not offer it?
So in a different presentation that we provided to the commission, it kind of gives more detail because it's hard to really try to determine the differences in the plans.
Mhm.
But in the communication that we've already sent, it breaks down, gives you more information on the city of Detroit plans and also the tiers, as well as the other municipalities. So it gives a little bit more information. You can see the differences in between our plans.
So is the city of Detroit a yes or a no?
For a zero contribution
Yeah.
plan, they're no.
There, yeah, or no, okay.
Okay.
I do have a copy of this in case you guys need another copy
What is that?
of the different municipalities, a more detailed breakdown of their plans.
Okay, we can pass that along.
It's in the packet.
Oh, it's in our packet? Okay.
It's under the
We got,
red tab.
okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
The next slide, slide 6, goes over the employee contributions. And so these are our 2022 rates. And as you will see, the various local municipalities, according to this chart, do fare better than the county when it comes to the employee contributions.
Wow. 0, yeah, and that's per pay period, right? Is that per pay or month,
It should be monthly.
monthly?
Yes.
Zero.
Seems like mine is higher than that, but anyway, okay. Okay, okay. And, okay, so we're looking at data, so, okay, next page.
So the next page just gives the observation of the charts that I just went over. So for the employee contributions overall, the employee contributions for Wayne County seems to be higher than the
Seems to be.
most most surveyed municipalities. However, again, the factors that we need to consider when looking at these numbers is the collective bargaining agreements. We need to look at the rating methodologies, the claim experience, and the funding arrangements for each of the entities. Only one of the survey municipalities offer a zero employee contribution plan. Just two?
No, wasn't that 3? The 0, that was Oakland, Macomb, and Genesee have a zero cost plan. All the counties except for Wayne.
Yeah, yes, okay, I'm sorry, that's a typo on our part.
It should be all, yeah,
Three.
everybody but us. Okay, thank you. All right.
And so when we look at the county's plan design, our current deductibles are higher than most survey municipalities. However, our current total out-of-pocket deductible is lower than the other municipalities. When it
Stop
comes,
right there, I'm sorry. You said our deductible is lower?
the total out-of-pocket deductible.
Oh, when you add the out-of-pocket plus,
So you
Yeah.
have, okay.
okay, gotcha. Okay,
And when it comes to the co-insurance, we align with all the other municipalities. Now, the current co-pays also align as well.
okay.
For the next slide, we have information on our HSA contributions and the wage bonus. So this chart shows in 2023, we had 2,681 employees who received the annual wage bonus. Out of that number, 923 employees, well, not out of that number, but 923 employees were not eligible for an HSA contribution.
That's us, right?
Including you guys, yeah.
So they not in that one, yep. Okay.
So employees that were HSA eligible were 1,758. And then of those HSA eligible employees, the number of employees that contributed some of their annual wage bonus to their HSA account was $1,309. Of those HSA eligible employees, you have an additional 1,059 employees who continue to contribute to their HSA accounts after the annual wage bonus contribution.
Okay. There's a formula, I guess, to the bonus for the HSA.
Yes.
Is it a range of salary or is it just a percent? I mean, how do you come up to the dollar amount that they would have the bonus for taking the HSA?
Okay. Right now, the amounts are $650 for anyone who waive healthcare coverage. And then for anyone who is enrolled in a high deductible health plan as a single individual.
That's annual, correct?
Annual, correct.
Okay.
And for anyone who has at least for themselves and a dependent or a spouse, so a two-person plan, they receive $1,000. And for families, for someone who's enrolled in a family plan, again, this is high deductible healthcare plan, they receive $1,300.
And is that spread out
That's annual.
annual?
It's annually and it's paid out in the first check in January. For employees that are established and have been here. For employees who are new to the county and have not at least, met their probationary period. It's a little bit harder to explain. They will receive their money as a prorated amount.
Okay. That's 1,300 for a family. Okay. Okay. Last page.
Okay. The
I'm
last,
sorry, go ahead. Before we go to that, go
So let me
ahead.
Make sure that I understand. If a person is, if an employee, it has a better plan with their spouse and they waive, they only get 600 and some dollars per year?
correct.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Questions before we move to the last page? All right, last page. Okay.
This last page just go over a few things that we'd like for you to consider. The analysis is only consider current enrollments. We do understand that there are 1,300 vacancies that the county needs to fill. When looking at the healthcare, we have to take that into consideration as well, because that can increase our numbers.
Mhm.
The health benefit plan design changes. Whenever we make changes, that flows over to our mirror retiree group,
Mm.
which unfortunately we do not have any, we have very little ability to make any changes with their current structure when it comes to contributions.
That
So-
mirror plan, is that true of every municipality? Every municipality has a mirror plan for their retirees, or that just
Not
Wayne
that.
County?
Yeah, that's, yeah,
That's just us.
based, yeah.
Did that have something to do with that lawsuit? The McDonald lawsuit? It was,
Mm.
What we're talking about here, no.
Okay. But the McDonald lawsuit did play into some retiree benefits, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, through the chair, this is Livia Calderoni, interim director of benefits division. The mirror language came out of collective bargaining. It was prior to the McDonald suit being settled.
Okay.
but was that suit challenging that? Oh, it's all right, it doesn't matter.
Yes, among other things.
Okay, all right.
But,
Thank you.
but we're one of the only county municipalities that has a mirror that what we do for the what we do for actives, we do for retirees.
Correct.
That's,
Yeah,
As far
yeah,
as-
as far as we know, like that,
okay, okay, all right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So legal considerations for any changes to benefits or compensation for benefits. Also, things to take into consideration is how would changes in our benefit structure affect OPEB liability? And then our implications to PA 152. Making sure that we stay under that hard capped amount. And changes must be made through the collective bargaining process.
All righty. Thank you for your presentation. Questions, Commissioner Colleen, then Commissioner Irma Clark Holman.
Well, not a question on this, but kind of this is great stuff. To see all of this in one place, but Madam Chair, another thing here is, we, like almost every other employer out there, public or private, is in a death match to recruit. So I think somewhere along the line, we also have to think in terms of plans that would be attractive to people to come to the county. And I'm, thinking about the old formula for public employment where you took less in wages to get more secure benefits. And that was one of the things that attracted people to public employment. So somewhere that has to come in, I think, to the consideration too. that if we're offering a new plan out there, how's that going to affect, filling these other 1,300 vacancies in the department? So I just want to put that out there as part of the discussion.
Yeah, well, that was the impetus for this task force, is to talk about the salaries versus the benefits, see where we are, where we need to be in
Right.
order to retain and attract
Yeah.
talent.
That's
So,
my whole comment
yeah,
today. We're
mhm.
Comparing to other
Yep.
municipalities.
so we can see in black and white on,
But
all together what it
other
looks like.
Employers out there,
Hmm.
right, and what are they offering?
Compared to what we're doing and where we
Yeah.
can improve
Yeah, I
upon.
hate to make some changes only to find out that it's a bit more, but anyway.
Yep.
Thank you. Madam
Thank
Chair.
you. Commissioner Clark Coleman?
The retirees, they don't get healthcare, right?
Not
They
new,
only get stipends.
not new retirees under the non-legislative plan. So they, yeah, so they were.
Retirees too.
Say it again.
Well, we have,
The mirror there is a group of retirees that does get health care because of the language in the collective bargaining agreement had the mirror language in it. If the language basically read in the CBAs that if you will get at retirement healthcare that is like that active employees in the same, like say bargaining unit. So if you were an AFSCME, you would get AFSCME benefits, whatever the active AFSCME would be getting. No,
so I'm sorry, were you
Yeah.
talking about?
I'm talking about Wayne County.
Is your microphone? Is your microphone on?
I'm talking about Wayne County retirees. They suffered when this whole process happened,
Right,
they lost their benefits
right.
and they
Some,
ended up getting what, $130 a month
okay, okay.
through stipends. So I don't know what you do with $130. Even if you improve unless you have a merit program, even if we were able to improve somewhat on active employees, the retirees would still be at a disadvantage.
So for, like Liv said, for those retirees that have that mirror language in their contracts at the time that they retired, they would, their benefits will mirror what the active retirees receive. Oh, I'm sorry, active employees receive. So theirs will be fluent. For the stipend retirees that you're speaking of, because their contracts did not include that mirror language, that's why they lost their retiree medical benefits, and they now have that stipend program.
And there's different groups of retirees. what she's
Exactly.
saying. It depends on when you retired and whenever you retire, it would
If you
depend on
were
what
in
you get or not.
a union, if you were in,
It's more when you retired.
it's
you-
when rather than.
Yeah, if you retired at this point where that mirror language was there, you got that. If you retired at this point where that mirror language was not in, you get that. So it depends on when you retired.
Right.
Yeah, and then I know the encouragement is once you get to 62, you go into Medicare, Medicaid. 65. So if if you're 65 years old, then you automatically go to Medicaid, care, and then,
Which
and
only
then,
does 80% of your.
right, and then that's your primary, and then the county would be your supplementary, at age 65.
Right.
Okay, yes,
And-
correct. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that one thing that we just put into place is that the county is now supporting a new Medicare Advantage plan for those stipend eligible retirees that lost their, medical benefits. So it is a voluntary program. It's just something that we support. We don't administer it, but there is a new MAPD plan for those individuals who are age 65 and above.
Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you. And I just want to make a comment too, like Commissioner Kleen did. I know we're going to be a recommending body at the end of this, but I'm very interested in what the changes to the OPEB liability would have what, if we'd see any of those and credit implications, because we've worked so hard to get that OPEB liability under control. So that would be a real priority of mine.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Colleen.
Madam Chair, I was going to raise the same thing that Commissioner Marecki did. I know down the line, OPEB bond ratings, right? We got our nose barely above junk bond status.
Mm.
And maybe not even with all of the credit rating agencies yet, but we're close, right? Very close. And OPEB is a big part of that. And as this has come up before, how possible is it to estimate how these changes would change our other post-employment benefits, our OPEB? Because you can run into the hundreds of millions real quick, if not billions, for OPEB. So for getting a handle on that amount, if it's like, okay, if we go this way, I know it's not this simple. Hey, if we go this way, that's how it changes the OPEB. If we go this way, that's how it changes the. How well are we able to estimate the effect on OPEB for different plans that we may offer?
So through the chair, Olivia Calderoni, I don't know how quickly or anything, we'd have to have a plan design.
Right.
And you understand, so there would have to be a recommendation and then who it applies to, et cetera, and how that would flow. The actuaries could do that kind of analysis. I mean, and certainly it would be something that, you know, regardless, the county would want to do and just to see what exactly the effect would have.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Madam Chair, would it be, given that answer, whether this task force settles on maybe, oh, these are the kind of 3 plans that we're looking at, and then get into more of the deeper cost study after that, because that's what they're saying. We need to see a plan. We need to see all of and we can calculate that. So maybe as part of our deliberations, we can perhaps, I'm watching people's facial expressions going, and I don't know if this is the way. You tell me that if we presented like, okay, we kind of like these 3 plans. Now let's really dive into
Mhm.
what all of the costs are. Does that sound like a reasonable?
Yeah, well, I think that's reasonable, but I would ask the question to the administration, given the numbers that you just presented to us, you saw where we're high, where we're low, where we're in average. In you all's mind, do you have any plans that you would want to present or take a deeper dive in, or are you happy with what we have?
Don't
That's
ask
a
it
loaded
like that,
question, I
Madam
know.
Chair. Wrong way to ask it.
Right. Do you all see some opportunities to improve our plans? How was that?
I mean, I think there's Matthew Carmona, interim director of labor relations. I think there's always opportunities, look for improvements. The challenge is those kind of what you've just discussed here in terms of having the actuaries, coming up with a potential design and then having the actuaries cost it out and see what it looks like from that perspective. And it's sort of, I mean, it's a little bit of a cart or the horse kind of issue. I think it just comes down to at some point after these sorts of processes that you make a decision, okay, let's look at this and see where we go. And then even at that point, there is obviously also, you have to go bargain with the unions to get those changes, which that's fine. That's the way the system's set up. So I don't know how much of a real answer that is. And also, I'm not an actuary. I'm not one of the money people, but that is also just part of the process between labor and any proposals that cost money is, effective communication with those people who do that kind of costing out, which we do have.
Okay.
So,
Commissioner?
so you have been negotiating new contracts with the labor unions, right?
There has been negotiating going on for a while now. Yes.
So have you touched on benefits or has it just been salaries?
So I think primarily, the short answer is primarily salaries at this point. Over the past couple of years, you know, you guys have seen several new CBAs come to the commission for approval. And those have been focused on salaries.
Like the sheriff's department and the lieutenants and sergeants and all those.
Correct. And there,
Been salary.
I wouldn't say they've strictly been salaries, but that has been the primary focus. I think in the most recent one that came to the board for 3317, it did include reductions in contribution levels to be no later than the next plan year. But I can say we have not talked about plan design. That is absolutely correct. We have not gotten into negotiations about plan design.
You talked about reducing the healthcare cost for in those talks.
I guess in terms of, there has always been discussion of how can we reduce healthcare costs, but in terms of, in order to do that beyond, say, contribution, if you're talking about the cost of a premium or illustrative rate, then that's where you really get into plan design and the actuaries. Because generally speaking, the actuaries every year go through our experience for the prior year and do what they do with numbers and see how many people used it at how much, and then, come up with whatever formula they have to come up with what's referred to as an illustrative rate, which was supposed to be, what would the premium for this plan be if you were to buy it on the open market? But if you're going to look at reducing those premium rates, I would say that there's one or two things are the primary drivers. One, experience. So maybe if experience dropped, and this is again a non-actuary talking, and then also plan design. So again, I think a lot of this where we're at now comes down to plan design.
So the people that are ratifying these contracts, they're ratifying these contracts simply just on salaries. They're not ratifying them on healthcare or benefits or anything.
I can't go into the mind of any particular union member to say why they voted yes to ratify or not. What I could say is the contracts that have been ratified have not included plan design changes.
There haven't been any, because we haven't changed any of the plan designs. So that's kind of what we want to talk about here. What does a plan redesign look like? What is the cost of a plan redesign? Is it feasible financially to do a plan redesign? Those are kind of the questions I want to get out in this meeting. Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This has got nothing to do with healthcare, but we're worried about the employees having their money. And I'm totally ignorant in this. But when you negotiate with unions, how do union dues fit into that kind of thing? Do we, again, I'm ignorant of the whole
Sure,
union
sure.
thing, but we're worried about people and their money and employees and their money. So is that a negotiated thing, or that's just between the
No.
employee and the union?
No, we don't get into and negotiate how much the union dues are. That's
Okay.
between the employee and their union. I'd say the most that gets into is we kind of act as it's part of the payroll processing. So we will deduct it from an employee's check and then forward it off to the union.
Would have nothing to do with
We don't
it.
get in with.
Okay.
We don't get involved. with
Thank
that,
you.
no.
And I know there's some people in the audience, hold on, that was not here last time. Ms. Smith, are you here? Did I see you here? Amanda Smith? Did I see you? I saw her here, because she gave a good dissertation on the kind of history and where they were with the prosecutor's office and some suggestions on how to move forward. I think we did forward that to you. Tony, I see your hand raised. Mhm. Come close. Okay, is that one working yet? Is it?
is very minimal.
Oh, it is.
Comes to the table.
Use your outside voice or come to the table, Tony. I thought that was fixed. Oh, it is.
It's great to see you, but we do want to hear you too.
Just come over here, Tony, because I think that's, come over here real quick. We gotta hear for the record.
Zoom people. The Zoom folks need you on a
What are
mic.
these boxes?
I do have a couple of questions, but the material from Amanda Morris Smith from the Government Bar Association is in your packages.
Yes, sit down,
And it-
honey, sit down. Yes.
Now you have to remember, a lawyer can't pass up a microphone. So,
Yes, sir.
no, I just wanted to mention, I went through the package to make certain that it has great detail as far as comparisons with other counties and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
But that's all I wanted to mention so that the members of the committee, I believe the entire commission was provided with that package.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
you said you had a couple questions.
I do, and I'm glad the questions really fall to HR. It's been a long time since I've negotiated some contracts, but my recollection of PA 152 actually gives an option to either implement a hard cap or I'm going to say an 80-20 plan. And I'm kind of confused because when I look at slide 3, says the county falls under the hard cap for PA 152 compliance. And I'm not sure how that process is supposed to work because we're having monies deducted from employees' paychecks in order to pay the contribution towards the health insurance. But I thought there was an option, you either go for the hard cap, which means that's the most that the employer can pay towards healthcare, and then the employees would be responsible for anything above and beyond that. Or you go into a plan where 20% or a certain percentage is taken from the employee's pay in order to contribute towards the healthcare. Am I correct?
Chair. Through the chair. So that is correct. And in the presentation, you notice with the history of the county plans, when it came to 2015, at that point, that's where the county decided to go to the 25% employee contributions. So we wouldn't be able to opt for the 80-20 rule because we had a 25%.
That was 25%. Okay.
And also just to clarify, under PA 152, the hard caps are the default. In order to get to the 80-20, there has to be legislative action.
Got it.
Right.
Well, and that
State
segues,
legislative action
No,
or
no,
county
The-
legislative
I
action?
believe it's county
I
legislative.
believe
action.
Felicia wanted to say something.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, us, okay.
Okay, so the question then on slide 3 is the 2023 county costs, less employee contributions are expected to be 24,798,000, et cetera. What's the amount of the employee contributions? And when we add them together, are we well over the cap? I understand the cap doesn't apply to them, but why did we not count in the employee contributions in coming to the figure of what it's going to cost the county? Because that money that is deducted from the employees' checks obviously is going to be used to pay at least the experience rating or what have you on the healthcare. And I'm no genius. That's why I'm asking the questions. You know, it's only 40 years of negotiating public sector contracts.
So through the chair, Livia Calderoni, if I'm understanding you correctly, so the hard caps, the laws basically sets the minimum, that or the maximum we can pay. Obviously the amount. It sets it for what the employer can pay. So we wouldn't add back what the employees are paying because that helps us keep under the cap. It's an employer maximum. not an employee maximum. So anything the employee pays helps bring the maximum for the employer down. So that's, I think, am I getting,
Yes,
or is there
but-
something?
Yeah, my question is, well, what do you do with the employee contributions?
Well, the costs are still the costs. I mean, we have claims we have to pay. It's just who's paying, how is it getting distributed between the employer and the employer?
Thank you, that helps.
Yes. And just to clarify, I mean, some of the analysis we've done, and this is not true every year, but it's when we actually kind of get down to the analysis and you look at overall cost. So we set the 25% through negotiation, and it's on an illustrative rate because we're self-insured. So 20, let's say it's $100, 25%, the county's picking up the 75%. And that, because that's what we expect to pay per employee, if that's the case. But at the end of the year, when we look back at what we actually paid, maybe the costs were $110. The county picks up that extra 10, and now the 25% isn't really 25%. It's something less. It's 25% to the employee of that rate, but not 25% of the total cost. Right? So the cost is still the cost. It's just how we're splitting it up in the beginning of the year, because as we're trying to predict how much we think we're going to have to pay.
Okay, Donna?
That answers my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Did you? Oh, I think, so we're gathering information so that we can make some informed decisions going forward. So we talked about salaries a little bit and what's been done and what's been offered salary wise with some raises. We talked a little bit about a couple of meetings about medical insurance, what that looks like, and this data really helps. There's a couple of more pieces that we want to have presentations on before we kind of wrap up our work. But I'd like to have a couple of back-to-back meetings for presentation purposes. We've been meeting the second full board meeting. I'd like to, we'll meet on June 6th again for full board because we're not going to meet on the 1st because people won't be here. So on the 6th, I'd like to meet again to have the retirement area come in to talk about the drop program. The retirement board just had a study done with our actuarium to see what the cost benefit, or what the cost, I should say not benefit, but the cost are for a drop program. So I want Rob Gurdon from the retirement office to come in and talk about what that looks like. It actually came out to be kind of cost neutral for the retirement, and the drop program is the retirement program. It keeps employees working and defers the retirement a little bit, but it helps the employees stay here at the county for a little bit longer. State of police, the Michigan State Police does that. The Detroit police officers do it. A lot of times it's a law enforcement agency that implements the drop program to keep their officers on longer. So we're going to have them come in and talk about what that presentation is on the 6th. So it won't be a long meeting. I just want us to hear what they talk about. And then on the next time that we meet, which will be a couple weeks after that, we can talk a little bit more about our findings. So please read through the packets, read through the Q&A. There's a lot of good information in the Q&A, and then we'll start to bring this together as to what we want to implement to the county going forward. Because my goal was to have something that we would implement before the budget process was over, and they're going to start their deliberations July, August. So I kind of want to be done with our work by the end of July to present to Ways and Means for the budget for the 23-24 budget year. So let's count on the 6th for the drop program. I know CJC meets that day. Yeah, I know. So we'll be up here. They'll be downstairs. I know you're on both. This is more exciting, so come here. CJC will be all right. So, and we'll have that. But again, start to formulate what you think we should do so we can start having some conversations and putting pen to paper on how we're going to move forward. We talked a little bit about parking as low-hanging fruit. I know the executive made mention that the CJC was going to have free parking. And then the 400 Monroe people have implemented something as well for free parking. But that could be some low-hanging fruit that we take on the cost of, but all of that, we're gonna put it to paper as a recommendation by the time we're done with this work. Is there any questions on the committee before we go? Okay, Madam Clerk, are we at public comments? And I'm sorry, are there any final comments from the administration? Thank you for this document. This is very helpful. I need to kind of see where we are, but I still need to get the cost numbers from where we were in 2008, 2011, and today, just so I know what we can afford to go forward with.
Madam Chair, I believe in the responses we gave.
Is that what that in
again,
there?
They were not all the way back to 2011, but there were back to 2014 as best as we could.
Okay.
You know, that we did include that in that packet. So you may already have what you need,
Okay.
but you know, we can do our best to try to go back to 2011 and see what we can find in terms, most of it will be out of the budgets.
Right.
You know,
right.
So just so you know, like at that time, the all overall costs were over 64 million.
Mm.
The employer costs, a portion of that was approximately 55 million. And now we're at about 39 million with the employer cost being at, oops, look at that. This looks like it's a typo here. You know what? I'm gonna have to go back and look at here. The employer costs at 48 million, it said, but so.
Today or at the time?
At the
At
time.
that time in 2011?
Yes, yes. Were there on this one? No, not on this one, but we can look at that.
Well,
As
okay.
best as, right, we'll try to get the numbers as best as we can. Problem is you don't know how many people were actually enrolled at the time. You know, we can, I don't have that kind of detail going back. More current stuff, we have enrollment information.
So we'll put that, Joe will put that question out to you, so you'll have it.
Yeah.
Any, I think we're on public comments.
Such other matters.
Okay, no such other matters. Next item.
Public comments.
Anyone in the audience have public comments at this time?
I see Sue Thompson's hand up.
Okay, on Zoom, Sue Thompson.
Thank you, Chair, Susan Thompson, Wink, I work, ASME Local 25 President. I do want to address the committee again. Thank you so much, commissioners, for holding this committee and exploring the issues that you're looking into with wages and benefits and the dearth of vacancies and all the challenges that we're facing in Wayne County to retain staff. Just some comments with the presentation. I do thank the administration for sharing this data and preparing it. It's very helpful and really does explain some of the things, and it's very helpful moving forward to look at what we can do to make things better. I do want to point out just with the 80-20, there was a lot of discussion with that. Just with the consent agreement that went into place in 2015, there is the extra 5% cost sharing that the employees are paying toward the medical plans that are offered here at Wayne County for the staff. So that's one thing too, that's an issue that maybe low hanging fruit there before exploring plan designs and really diving into that. And I know we're looking at things change does take time, and it is something that hopefully we can come to something that will be presented to the unions to work on and have those collaborative discussions. Just because so many people are leaving, and I've lost several members in my union that have moved on, ironically, to Macomb County and some other employers. And so that's where it is. And these are younger people coming in. They're not even staying with the county several years. And so those are just things, seeing people moving on and trying to make, I think as Commissioner Colleen said earlier, is to make the public service, since we're competing out there for job candidates, is to return to having the public service being the rewarding experience and, those benefit, those things that we want to bring people here into Wayne County and to stay, and also be somebody like myself who has spent 33 years with Wayne County, and want to be able to say to people that would consider Wayne County as a career, that say yes, we want you to come here and work and want to stay with us. So but again, I really appreciate that, and looking forward to working with the administration on being part of the solutions here to fix some of the things going on. At the last negotiations, when ASME did have their contracts open on the non-supervisory, we also brought up the cost sharing in that. And at the time, management did make moves to increase some of the salaries for the selected classifications that the county was having recruiting retention issues with. But unfortunately, it was at that time they were not in the position to put changes with the cost sharing, and also like even the retirement contributions out there. So I just wanted to share that. So again, thanks again for the opportunity to provide comment, and also for your work on helping with restoring and getting our wages and benefits and things back in line and be competitive with other employers. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. We do have 2 emails that'll be read.
Yes, the board received 2 emails. The first email is from Alan Bulifant. Honorable Board, I thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share some valuable insight regarding retention and attraction of Wayne County employees. As some background information, Wayne County Sheriff's deputies in the POAM union and Wayne County Sheriff's Command officers in Local 3317 are able to retire and collect their full pension, both previous to 2015 and post 2015, at the age of 55. As you know, everyone else in the county must wait until they are 62 years of age, regardless the number of years of service. I started as an officer in 1993 and worked my way up through the ranks of deputy, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and finally was promoted to the rank of commander in 2018. If I had stayed a captain, I would have been allowed to collect my full pension when I reached the age of 55. Because I took a promotion to commander, I now have to wait until the age of 62. As a result of this information, most of the brightest and best staff in lower ranks do not even attempt to be promoted beyond the higher executive ranks. As leaders and successful people, I know that you can see this is a recipe for disaster, which limits the ability to seek excellence. To add further hindrance to the pursuit of excellence, the Captains Union, Local 3317, just received multiple raises and retention bonus in their new contract, which will now have them making more money than a commander, which is the captain's supervisor, come October 2023. The rank of commander can only be promoted up through the ranks of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and they are part of the executive benefit package. Other executive ranks, such as director, deputy chief, and chief, are equal or above the rank of commander, but they are subject to the same age restriction of 62. The director, deputy chief, and chief positions have the ability to be hired from outside the lower ranks, but again limits the desire of anyone within the lower ranks wishing to strive for those positions. Taking a promotion should never harm someone financially. There are only a handful of people in this situation, and I ask that you would level the playing field and allow for the very best to be incentivized to take a promotion and stay with Wayne County, instead of simply retiring as soon as possible so that they can take their skills and abilities somewhere else. I thank you for your time and allowing me your attention. Commander A. Bulifant.
Okay, thank you.
The second email is from Melinda Folder. Hello, my name is Melinda Folder, and August will mark my 18th year working for Wayne County Environmental Health. I have many stories like others of how we have lost staff over and over again due to low pay and or poor benefits. Our division is at the breaking point. We are not even treading water anymore, and we are headed into the busy season of festivals that will require us to work even longer hours. There is a massive issue that has been going on for more than 18 years. I've been here and should have been addressed much sooner. When I applied to be an environmentalist, it was a tight job market. Myself and a colleague were on a waiting list for 5 years before even being offered an interview. That is not an issue now, but the next stop still is making prospective employees wait weeks before getting back in touch with them. This occurred back then when staffing was at a more reasonable level. Now each person has a lot of other options, many with higher pay rates and better benefits. There has been a mindset downtown that people will wait for the privilege of working for Wayne County. This is profoundly ignorant. The environmental health director interviewed 7 people weeks ago, and she has heard nothing from downtown about the progress to hire anyone. This is not acceptable. I know we all know that the majority of those interviewed have taken another job already. More than one person stated the pay was too low during the interview process. We lost those people immediately. Wayne County performs a lot of very important jobs for its citizens, but in light of recent years long pandemic, it seems unwise to allow the staffing level of the health department to continue to be below sustainable levels. We were told by the CEO that Wayne County was finally going to reinvest in the health department, but have yet to see that happen. The decades-long red tape for hiring has contributed to the starvation of a once proud and progressive county government. Respectfully, Melinda R. Fodor, environmentalist, environmental health.
Thank you. And I'm sure the administration, you're listening to those comments, and I don't know, you can respond amongst yourselves, but the one with the commander group and then the environmentalists, if you could just look into that and see what the deal is. Okay, all right, next item.
Adjournment.
Okay. All right, thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the 6th.